Hello, my friends. Sometimes you hear a lot of talk lately about reducing disparities in our communities. And I think that there are some really well meaning people in leadership positions who sincerely want to help and be a part of the solution. But it's really interesting how this all plays out and some of the things that we see when you work in public service. One of the things that stands out to me is how difficult it is and how many barriers there are to people just finding employment. If you take the example of filling out a job application, or even searching for a job, it used to be back in the day you could just walk into a place, some establishment, and say, "Hey, are you hiring?" And they would hand you a paper application, and you could fill it out right then and there and submit it. Very few places can you do that now. Your average larger organization would want you to fill your application out online and to submit it that way. If you have access to transportation and can get there, most public libraries, you can certainly request access to a computer. But then when you get on the computer, what do you need to do? You need to go to the website, go to a job website. It could be Indeed.com. It could be maybe the actual organization that you, maybe like Target Corporation or whatever, that you want to apply for. So you get there to the application. And what do they ask you for? They ask you for a phone number and an email address. And those are required fields in filling out applications. And the interesting thing to me about that is they won't allow you to move forward with the application without filling that out. And it really takes for granted that people have a phone number, that people have access to a phone. And you can't actually, even years ago, you could have an email address without having a phone. But now you have to have a cell phone in order to just have an email address, because what I've seen is that people come into our library and they try to log on to their emails, their Google account or Yahoo account from our public computers. And if they've never done it before, the computer wants to verify, or not the computer, but Google or Yahoo or Facebook even wants to verify that the person who's logging on is actually the person who's logging on. So they want to either send you an email to your alternative email, which is insane, or to your phone, assuming that you have one. Now, the reason why I said it's insane about the alternative email is that if they tried to log on to Google, this would happen. If they tried to log on to Yahoo, this would happen. I'm not too sure that there are too many email accounts that you can have that don't do that verification. And if they are out there, please let me know. Write it in the comments box so I can let some of our patrons know, because that's been a real sticking point to a lot of people being able to move forward with these applications. And it's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking. I actually sat with a couple of patrons in the last couple of weeks, trying so hard to move forward with filling out their electronic application, and barrier after barrier after barrier. And there was nothing at all that I could do for them in that regard. And that's painful. And it really creates a pause with me. We got to look at that whole access thing. Yeah, people have access to computers in public spaces, but then there's another barrier when they can't actually get to their email. And we can even help them create emails, but that gets blocked when there's no cell phone number that they can send back a code to. So it's really painful, and it's just something that I am very mindful of in public service. And it's something for us to keep in mind when we're thinking about what are the kinds of things that people struggle with, and what are some of the barriers that we might work together as a community to help resolve. So in trying to come up with solutions myself, I thought, wow, I wonder if there could be like some kind of effort to pull our resources together and get cell phones, even if they were pay-as-you-go cell phones, even if they couldn't, continue to pay the fee for the ongoing service, that the phone would be paid for, and that once they could actually find employment, that they could have a phone, a workable phone that they could connect to service and continue to use. So that's one idea that I had. I'm sure that there are some organizations out there that are probably doing something similar to that. But that was just one idea that I had. And I wondered if that was something that could happen on a more local level where you get like a neighborhood together to kind of pull resources together and maybe come up with scholarships for, I don't know, 10 phones for people who meet the requirements and need them. And meeting the requirements would mean people who just don't have the means to purchase a phone or to pay for a monthly contracted bill. It's just something that was on my mind. I wonder what you think about it. If you have any suggestions, any thoughts, any comments, I'd love to hear them. And just one more quick thing to mention. This whole idea of needing to have a phone in order to access your email in a public space, it doesn't just affect people who are filling out job applications. It affects people doing anything at all where it would be necessary to send a document, send some kind of form through email, whether it's you need to scan something to PDF and send it off to maybe it's school you're applying for. It could be an application for insurance. It could be anything at all that you'd need your email address to do business with any kind of institution. That happens. That's that we deal with email every single day for just about every single thing that we do, it feels like. And if a person can't access their email from a public space because they don't have a phone that they can send a code back to because they're not on their home computer, or even assuming that they have a home computer, it's just insane to me that that's just one more unnecessary barrier. And I understand why Google and Yahoo and Facebook want to verify. They really want to protect us. You want to believe? Yeah, that might be true, and that's great and everything, but there's got to be some way around that. There's got to be some way to work with people who don't have a phone. Otherwise, it just completely, they're just rendered invisible in this community. It means that everybody else gets access. Everybody else has the ability to move forward with all their day-to-day business, but people who don't have a phone don't. It just feels wrong.